8th of October. It is a little mud ball on top of me, and he's sitting down, all muddy as usual. Then I have the other little slob. Here you go. He gets a cookie, actually a chewy. Okay, so what we got here is a live vlog on Wednesday, the 8th of October. Jesus, this stuff keeps kicking in on me. I don't want to say I have dyslexia, but numbers and times and space, it's all relative. And I think we'll all come into that understanding sooner or later. Okay, so what I want to do is, hey, first of all, I just talked to, who the heck was that? Yes, it was. He gave me a, let me put my glasses on here. Yeah, it's the gamer 9090. He gave me a comment on the last. I just uploaded something that the taxpayers are getting ripped off on. A lot of money on this shutdown. Check it out if you want. I just uploaded it like 10 seconds, 2.5 minutes ago. Okay. Yes, Gaming Official gave me already a comment on it. Sleepy Joe, he calls him. I think Sleepy Joe is quite wide awake. But that would be another topic. Hey, BXP. Hey, how you doing? We're going to have 4 short thumbnails. 4 short. Well, get these sunglasses out of the way. I'll put them over here. I'll put them in the garden. It's safe, and I'm not going to grow any more sunglasses, but I am growing some. Well, they're overdue. Some red bell peppers, and I got some other stuff too. I'll show you another time. So this is going to be the thumbnail on fishing with friends. Oh yes, and I got 4 little shorts on this. I'll make it as short as possible. Hopefully you can hang out. If not, oh well, you know. Did I miss somebody here? Welcome live chat. Remember to guard. Yeah, that's right. Remember this is a live chat and to be nice. Isn't that what it said? Well, most of you are nice, and even if those that aren't, we'll talk to you too. So I got thumbnail, fishing with friends. Okay, so the first one I'm bringing up is I had a pontoon boat. Okay, hey Dixon Mays, hello friend. Hey friend, I remember you, Dixon. So we got a pontoon boat that I rented. It was a 20-footer, a 20-foot pontoon boat. That means there could be 18 or more people enjoying the ride. But we only had like 1 couple, 2 couples, 3 couples, 4. Okay, let me think. There was Jerry and his friend. There was I don't know. It was like 3 couples and Sean, a guy that I work with. There was not 18 of us, but at that time period, I could rent this pontoon boat for the weekend for $200, but I had to put $200 down in case I messed up the rotor or the propeller. The propeller is very expensive, so I had $400 that I put down for the weekend. If you look it up now, if you want to get 20-foot pontoon boat, it's going to cost $400 for a 1 day. So I look back on things and think, yeah, it was pretty expensive for me at the time, but I had my truck and I pulled it up to Lake Pleasant. Okay, Lake Pleasant is a place in Arizona. You can Google it. A lot of stuff happens up in Lake Pleasant. I got more stories on it, but I'm just staying with this one short story. I caught this I've caught bigger catfish, but it was only 5 pounds. It's a 5-pound catfish. So I caught it. And I said, hey guys, what do you think about fish? Yeah, we love fish. So I didn't have any cornmeal or anything. Yeah, it was just going to be fried up in my cast iron skillet, which is a very big cast iron skillet. It's not the one I left down at the Grand Canyon. I've got tons of cast iron skillets. I'll show you. I'll show you. I only cook out of cast iron because when you cook out of cast iron, you get iron. When you cook out of aluminum, you get aluminum. And we know what aluminum does to the brain. For anybody who has Alzheimer's, that could be a situation. Or people drink out of aluminum cans. At a certain point, you probably want to go to glass, or cook out of stainless steel, cast iron. I'm not really too much for copper right now for cooking, although they say eggs come out perfectly. I don't know. Hey, BPX, cast iron collector. I am a collector on a lot of things, but cast iron, when the hard times come, I'll be able to cook over a fire and cook for everybody. That's my intent. God forbid we ever go to that place that we have to do that, but I am a Boy Scout. Be prepared. That's all. So we got okay, we do the weekend thing, right? So I got this catfish. It's about 5 pounds, and as we're pulling in, there's a whole family on shore. These mosquitoes are getting me again. Hey, I thought I put on enough mosquito repellent. No, they must love this. They think this mosquito repellent is honey. I'm getting bit on my back. I'm gonna go through this anyway. So we're pulling up to shore, and there's about 5 or 6 campsites up there, and all these kids, I guess they haven't seen a big boat before, a pontoon boat. So they all come out, and plus I have this big 5-pound catfish. So all these kids, I'm gonna say, I don't know, probably 6 to 8 kids, all ranging between maybe 3, 5, 8, and maybe 10 to 10. 10 would be about it. So all these kids are coming out. Yeah. So we're coming in ashore. We anchor off, and I get off the pontoon with my catfish, and all the kids want to look at the catfish, like they have never seen a fish before. So I'm showing them the catfish, and it's still alive. It's kicking all over. And I said, kids, watch out, because there's barbs on the side of the catfish that cut you. Oh, they didn't know that. So I said, yes, but Uncle Martin has to do an operation. And that's when I think I asked Jerry, one of my buddies here that had his friend with him, and I said, Jerry, give me my cast iron skillet. And it was a big, I'm going to say it was only 8 pounds, that kind. I didn't have no 10 or 12 pound cast iron skillet like I do. It could have been a 10 pounder. I don't know. Anyway, it was a big cast iron skillet. He comes off the boat, gives me my cast iron skillet, and I said, kids, stand back. I have to do an operation. And they stand back. Now, as they stand back, I get this like a blue, it's kind of like a blue towel. I'm looking at this catfish, and it's just maybe me. But I had some traumatic experiences when I was 4. We went out on a boat in Lake Mary when I was up in Flagstaff, which Lake Mary doesn't have any fish up there, by the way, now, but they did back in my day. And this guy that my dad, we went out in a rowboat, and this guy caught like a sunfish. It's about that big or so. He pulls it aboard, and he has this like knocker thing, and he's whacking away on the top of the head of this fish, and it's still going. And it's like and he's saying it's the only way to kill him. I'm 4 years old. I had fished prior to that. Okay, it was at Lake Apacon in New Jersey, and I was still 4 years old. So it was in the same year period, but it was my first time fishing. So off the dock of Lake Apacon, I caught a 5-pound sunfish. It's ridiculous, right? No, you look it up. Lake Apacon, New Jersey. They have them that size up there, especially back in my day. So my grandfather, I have his pole, which I was only allowed a bamboo pole with like a string going out. That was it. But he said, here, hold on to this pole for me. I don't know what he was doing, but all of a sudden I catch on something, and I'm getting pulled off the dock, and here he is running back, grabbing me by the back of my pants. They're kind of falling down because I always had bigger pants because we were kind of poor. He always said I'd grow into them. So my pants are falling down. He grabbed the back of my pants, but I'm still reeling, and I did not let go. And I pulled in this 5-pound sunfish, and that's how the story went with my grandfather. He was so proud of me. I was his fishing buddy until he made his transition. He said, "This kid is a fisherman. He's 4 years old. He held on to my pole. He kept reeling, and he didn't let go, even though he was getting pulled off the dock." So I'm saying, I am a fisherman from my heart. To this day, I fished a lot of places. I haven't gone there yet, but this is where we're at now. That I've pulled this fish into where I have to do an operation. An operation? I don't want to talk to you. Some people are trying to stop me from my story. So I said, "Kids, stand back." So I put the towel over, because as I said before, when fish are looking at you, I can't do it. I just can't gut them like that, and I can't do any of that. So I gotta cover their eyes. So I covered his eyes. I got the big skillet, and I smashed it on his head. The kids stepped back. They're all aghast. They're saying, "Oh my God!" And I said, "Hey, hold on." And I take the towel off, and the catfish is dead, obviously, because I have a 10-pound at least skillet squashing his head. But I couldn't look at his eyes. And I said to the kids, I said, "Operation was a success." And they all started laughing. See, kids, I know, and anybody's watching, it's tough to kill a fish. It's hard for me to kill anything. But if you're going to kill it, my dad always said, you kill it, you got to eat it. And that's what I've been brought up under. Remember when I went down to Grand Canyon and I had to kill that pink rattler? Because my dog was stepped on its head and all that? Well, I killed it, and plus we were starving anyway, kind of. We were going on a 3-day fast. But I didn't care if I was on that fast or not. I would have still eaten that snake, see? Whatever you kill, you eat. You just don't kill things for fun, all right? You don't shoot birds out of the sky. You don't shoot at any animal just to kill it and not eat it. That's very negative. I'm just telling you, kids, or anybody's watching. There's a lot of karma involved when you do that. So that was Operation Smash, the first episode. Now the second one has to do with, well, Jerry's involved. Let's see, is he involved? I guess Jerry's involved in 3 of these. Jerry's a good buddy of mine. He's up in Wyoming. He's got a brother named Richard, but that'll be after this one. The second one is going to be on Apache Lake in Arizona. It's only 17 miles long, and I've been up and down that with my canoe so many times, and with boats too. But this time, in fact, if you remember the 7-day camping trip, I did a 7-day camping trip live. Go to that one if you wish. It's on 3 consecutive dreams I had that came true. I lost my canoe. Elsie the cow saved us. And that Viking chick did want to get me into the girls' bathroom. Her name was Gretchen. So I had all these names and information that I was prepared for on this 7-day camping trip, all right? I'm just saying, check that out, please, because dreams are very important. I did a lot on dreams. I'm not done with them. I'm going to help people on dreams, trust me, because they're not for amusement. Okay, Gaming, what do you got? My uncle had massive fish in his garden, and some had an illness where their tails started to bend and it starts to hurt them, and he had to kill them to stop that hurting. It sounds like if your uncle had these fish in his garden, I'm guessing that they were lacking nutrition or they were getting poisoned somehow. It's just a guess. You got to watch that. I'm going to have aquaponics very shortly. It's where the fish or in a container. That emulsion goes through the thing, and then it feeds your plants. Your plants, then whatever water's left over goes back into the pond that you have your fish. I'm gonna have that because that is my intent. That'll be another story. So we were at Apache Lake. Yeah, this is the second time. Well, I've been to Apache Lake so many times, but the dream one was when I lost my canoe. But all this stuff is before I lost my canoe, so that's what I'm saying. I didn't have a canoe this time, but Jerry, a buddy of mine, Mike S., that's all I'll say is Mike S., we were all at Apache Lake. Now, what happened was, my buddy Jerry, I bought this big tube of, it's called fly attraction. Fly attraction. That means when you go out camping, there's a lot of flies come around. Well, Jerry misread the label. The label said this big tube of fly attraction is supposed to be put at least 100 foot or more away from your campsite. Well, he thought it was mosquito repellent, because I just got a text from him today, because he said, do I remember the mosquito repellent? I'm thinking in my mind, that wasn't mosquito repellent. That was fly attraction. So what does he do? He opens up the big bottle. It's like a tube. It was brown. And he squirts the trees. He squirts the fireplace. He squirts the whole campsite. He squirts the tent. He squirts the cooler of our food down with this fly attraction. So, in the morning when we woke up, there was thousands of flies all over our campsite. And I'm saying, how could this possibly happen? And then I see the empty container. I said, Jerry, did you open this? He says, oh, yes, I did. And I said, did you put it? He says, yes, I did. Well, I said, did you read what it had on? No, I didn't read it. Always finish what you're reading. I have an episode on that. When Dad was eating prickly pears, he was eating skunk cabbage. He did all these things, and he had a book in front of him, but he didn't finish what he was reading. It's very important. Sun's coming down. I got to be quicker now. So that was one point of Apache Lake with Jerry and Mike S. Now on the same campsite at the same time, Jerry wanted to borrow my tackle box. I said, yeah, no problem. I got all my lures, all my things that I need in my tackle box. Well, he goes down at the bottom of the basin, to the bottom of the, we're in a concave cove down there. It's about a quarter-mile cove, let's say. So he goes down and he starts using my fishing lures and stuff and whatever. And he's fishing like sundown, whatever. And he comes back up and he goes to bed. I didn't know. I was already asleep in my hammock. And the next morning, I said, Jerry, where's my fishing equipment? Oh, I left it down. I left it down by the water. Well, would you not know that Apache Lake rises and lowers? Well, that night it rose 2 foot. It was 2 foot. So when I get down there, I see my tackle box floating on the water, going to the other side of the cove, still open. And I'm thinking, oh my God, it's got to be filled with water and everything else. So I walked around the cove. Actually, I ran. That was another story. It was really tough to get over there. But by the time I got there, it had gone to the other side of the shore. And I get my tackle box and I see there's no water in there. It's totally open. And for some reason, it was protected for me to have every lure and everything, all my sinkers and everything I needed that you go fishing with was still there. So that was a godsend. So that was episode number 2 on fishing with friends. The next one, oh yeah, Apache Lake. Apache Lake. Richard. Okay. So now we're at Apache Lake again. 17 miles long. And I do have my canoe that I did not lose yet. And that's where I'm going to go with this one. So Jerry again has his girlfriend. No names. And then we have Richard. Richard's his brother. Richard's a unique individual. He went to Australia. He bicycled over 2,000 miles in the outback of Australia. This guy's a crazy man. Well, they said that. I was crazy when I went out and lived in the desert for a year, barefoot with just a blanket and a staff. So maybe we have some things in common. Richard was kind of guy that he loved the outback. He loved bicycling. When he ran out of money, he stopped at a town, worked whatever as a chef, whatever he had to do to get the job done to where he can get on his bike and start pedaling again out in the outback, which nobody really does, really, unless you're kind of a survivalist like he is, I suppose. So we have that, plus he did catch a 600-pound grouper off of a pier. I got pictures of it. This guy's a remarkable guy. So he's with the camping trip too. So there's Jerry, his brother Richard, Jerry's accomplice. I'm going to call her accomplice because what she did. I got my girlfriend and my adopted child, Donna, and my adopted child, Brandy. And I think that was the whole group there. So I let Jerry and his accomplice go out in the canoe. And she wanted to use, she said, do you have a fishing pole? I said, I got 3 fishing poles. But one's for Brandy, one's for Donna. She says, can I borrow your fishing pole? I said, have you ever fished before? She says, oh yes, I fished before. I said, okay, you can use my, it was only a Zebco kind of push button. You know, you push the button and just, you push the button and cast. Well, what she did was, I was watching her. They only got about like maybe 1,000 feet off the shore over by some rocks and stuff, which where all the fish are at. And she throws the whole pole out into the water. And I'm looking at her, and Jerry's looking at her, and then Jerry looks at me. So she threw my pole away on the first cast. Imagine that. Anyway, that's fine. It'll come full circle. So the next day, Jerry and his brother Richard, they're digging on the side of a cliff. And there's this big tail hanging out of the cliff, a tail. I'm saying, what are you guys doing? They said, well, we're going to get this. I said, yeah, well, maybe you should leave it alone. It was a big tail. Don't know if it was a snake or whatever it was. So they kept pulling and digging, and they pulled out a 2-foot bearded dragon. You know what a bearded dragon is? Just Google a bearded dragon. It was like 2 foot long. It was golden. Probably worth some money. And I said, you know, you probably should let that go. And Richard said, yeah, I'm going to let it go. I just wanted to see what it was. So he put it back in the hole. Bearded dragons are expensive, and he probably could have sold it, but that's the kind of person he was. He knew he was just in town for a little bit, and there was no sense in taking on extra stuff that, well, he wasn't going to, you know, in the wild, leave the wild alone. Let them live. Isn't that nice if you can do that? So many people don't do that. So, yeah, okay, so that's what we had. Sorry, buddy. So now everybody's gone. They got to go. They just can't stay. They got to go. And that's what I'm saying. All there was left was Donna and my adopted daughter, Brandy. Now we're in the canoe, and we're going out. Yeah, we're going out a little bit. And all of a sudden, Donna catches a fish, and Brandy catches a fish. And I don't have a fishing pole. But that's not going to stop me. I know I have string. I had 8-pound test. I had about, well, a good reel. I mean, I had plenty of string. And I had a hook. So I didn't get a stick, see. So when I whipped it around, I didn't use a sinker. I just used the worm with the hook. When I whipped it around and I threw it out, it was a good cast for what I had. and then all of a sudden I get a hit. I get a hit where the string is going through my hands, and I'm trying to hold on to it, but it's like going out, and it's like all of a sudden all this a lot of blood coming out of my hand. And Brandy's looking at it, Don's looking at it, say, just let him go, let him go. I said, I can't, I got to pull him in. So I'm pulling him in. I felt like the Old Man of the Sea. Remember that one? Spencer Tracy, look it up. It's a classic. The Old Man of the Sea. He caught this big marlin. By the time he came back, I don't want to give it away, but he didn't have nothing but, yeah, it was very negative. But the Old Man of the Sea, he finally caught something, and yeah, anyway, his hands were ripped up even, well, his were ripped up more than mine, but it reminded me of the Old Man of the Sea when all the string went through and you couldn't hold on to it. It was just zipping through. So I caught this like 3-pound bass. So I pull it in, and that was our dinner, plus the other 2 fish that we had. They were okay too. So now Brandy says to me, she's like 5 years old, she says, if you only had your fishing pole. I said, you know, Brandy, say a little prayer, and maybe I'll get one. So she says a little prayer. It's a little sweetie. So the next, I wasn't going to throw any more of this line out. My hands couldn't handle it. So Donna didn't get anything, but son of a gun, Brandy all of a sudden hooks on. I said, wow, that looks like a big one. Reel it in. So she's reeling in. You know what she pulled in? Do you know what she pulled in? No, not a fat dog. She pulled in my fishing pole that Jerry's assistant threw out. What are the chances of that? Out of a big lake, 17 miles long, and Brandy does a little prayer and pulls in my fishing pole. It's only a day old, so it didn't rust or anything. I just say, whenever you do a little prayer, it goes a long way. And that was the end of number 3. Number 4. Okay, perfect. We're going lightning speed today. Now number 4 on the thumbnail, Friends. Look at this. Fishing with Friends is the thumbnail. Fishing with Friends. So now we're at Oak Creek Canyon. It's Donna, my adopted daughter Brandy, and we pull up to Oak Creek Canyon. Oak Creek Canyon is like just the other side of Sedona. It's the back way to go up the Flagstaff, if anybody wants to look up where that is. And by the way, at one time in the 60s, there was, and I want you guys to look this up because it's pretty cool stuff. It's excuse me, the sand sculptures of 1962 Oak Creek Canyon. Vandals came in twice and destroyed them. It had Jesus in the arms of Mary. It had the Last Supper. It had a bunch of stuff that some idiots came in and vandalized. For whatever God knows, I know why, because there's always been that attack, but it's not there, but they have the pictures of it. So if you want to look that up, I suggest look up Oak Creek Canyon sculptures of 1962, and you'll get something. Anyway, we always stopped and looked at those. By the way, I found a coral snake there one time, but that'd be another story. Just bringing back memories of myself here. So now we stop at Oak Creek, and I say, hey, Donna, we just got to go down this little ravine here, and it's where I always went fishing and had a great time. And she looks out the car window and she says, I'm not going down there. That's too steep. And I said, but I always went, well, I got to go down there. And then Brandy says, I want to go too. And I said, nah, probably not. Your mother says it's too steep. And her mother says, if she wants to go, she can. So Brandy, still 5 years old, still 5 years of experience. We're going down. It's not that steep, by the way. It's definitely walkable. So we get down to the water, and it's just upstream from where the trout farm is, by the way. There's a trout farm up there. And it's in July. I got to point that out. It's in July. So we get to the stream. And as we're walking down the trail, I find, looks like about 6 pound test. Just plain 6 pound test, 6 pound test fishing line. And then I pick it up, and I'm kind of like, I got a stick this time, and I'm going around with a stick with it. And she says, "Oh, wouldn't it be nice if it had a hook or something on it?" I said, "Yeah, it would be nice, but probably rare." So as I'm sort of at the end of about, I'm guessing 22 feet, there is a hook. There's a trout hook and a berry, one of those little baby berries, salmon berries, whatever the red or pink or whatever it goes on a hook for salmon bait. So we keep on walking, and then we come up to this, like, well, it's all waterfalls coming down, by the way, Oak Creek Canyon. And then it comes down to some rocks and stuff like that. And then I'm still holding on to this, and Brandy says, that water's swirling over there and kind of stopping. Don't you think maybe there's some trout down there? I said, "And where did you hear that?" She says, "You told me." I said, "You got a good memory." So I took, I don't know, about 18 foot of it off, threw it close to the water. I knew the berry would be going down to that little area. Son of a gun. There's a 2 pound rainbow trout. Now, she's ecstatic, and I'm saying, this is remarkable that we're going down here and catching a fish like this. So we come back, and you would not believe this, but after we climb up, Donna's saying, well, she's thinking in her mind, how to go. And I pull up this, my fingers are in the gills, it's still kicking. I said, "Oh, we caught a fish." And her eyes bug out, and she's saying, "How did this happen?" I said, "Well, Brandy told me where to throw the little berry to go in to catch the fish." She says, "Oh, really?" So Brandy's all happy. So I had an ice box, so I put the fish in the ice box. Now, on the way home, because we can't go up to Flagstaff, it's just, we got to turn around and go home. So as we turn around home, on the right, well, now going back to Phoenix on the right side. See, if you're going to Flagstaff on the left side, there's blackberries, about a mile of blackberries. It's just well known. Up taking that trek the back way up to Flagstaff. So on the way down, it was on the right side, and I said, "Blackberries," and she says, "What are you talking about?" I said, I got these as a kid. We'd have blackberries for dessert." So we stopped, pull over the truck. We had a bucket in the back. And all I am in shorts, I'm barefoot, but I still have calluses from when I was out in the desert. So I get over this barbed wire fence, and I tell the two to stay there. And I'm stepping on blackberry vines. If anybody knows about those stickers and everything, it doesn't bother me. I'm just stepping on them, bowling roll, and I filled up half that bucket with blackberries. It was amazing. They were all ripe and ready in July. So we get back in the car. I'm saying, "Go, we got fish, we got blackberries for dinner, yeah!" So we get down home, and I pan fried the trout. And then on the news, the TV was right above us. We had it up on the wall, and all of a sudden it goes boop, 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 boop. Flash. Sedona, Arizona, Oak Creek Canyon. High E. coli, which happens in that area because they have under a grandfather clause, they don't have to have a septic tank. So everything that they have goes out into the water. That means all you folks that are going on slippery rock, it's more than slippery for a reason. But that would be another story. So beep, 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 it goes off and says, "E. coli, do not eat the fish from Oak Creek Canyon." And we're about ready to serve this stuff. Yeah, so I had to call out for pizza. In the midst of getting our pizza, and Brandy wanted cheese pizza, I wanted funja. I wanted a little mushroom, and the little lady wanted some. I don't know what she wanted. She wanted some kind of pepperoni. I said, make it in half. I don't want any pepperoni. I want funja. I want mushroom. So that was a half and half we did. Yeah, you. Half and half what? Half and half one of these. Oh yeah, he's a muncher. So what we got is this information coming up to where I got to get a cheese pizza. Well, I got pizza coming. Now in the mix of the pizza coming, I'm saying at least we have blackberries, and all of a sudden, boop 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 on the thing. It was an alert not to eat the blackberries out of Sedona going up Oak Creek. I said, why? Because there's millions of cars going by there. The carbon monoxide goes into the plant, it sucks it up, and you're eating poison. So all we had was ice cream for dessert. I'm just saying, it was just serendipitous that here that same day, I caught a trout, I got blackberries. Now I get home, I'm cooking them, ready for dessert, and I can't have either one of them. It was very disappointing, but it was at the right time to get information, which I'm very grateful for. Now I knew about the E. coli on Slippery Rock because when I was down there, I was 5 years old, 5 years of experience, and when I was going down Slippery Rock, and you look up Slippery Rock in Sedona, all right? That's a great place to be, yeah. Well, I was 5 years old, and I'm sitting there just before I'm going to slide down the rock, and Dad and I were next to Dad, and all of a sudden, like a big Tootsie Roll goes by. But it wasn't a Tootsie Roll. Remember Caddyshack, when everybody emptied the pool? They thought it was something else, but all it was like, it wasn't a Tootsie Roll, whatever he ate, you know? It wasn't a Tootsie Roll that went down there. It was why they have E. coli. They don't have to have a septic tank. They don't have to have a sewer system. They throw everything out into the water. This grandfather clause, nobody's telling you. So that's why Uncle Martin's coming forward and saying, you go down Slippery Rock, don't swallow the water. And watch out for the Tootsie Rolls. That's enough of that cosmic humor. So anyway, anyone who's lasted this long, give me a thumbs up, give me a thumbs down. I don't care, I am concerned. But if you join my club, which is meaning you subscribe to Uncle Martin, I will subscribe to you. So until I see you, this is Wednesday the 8th. I won't see you tomorrow. Got to work late. Friday, good possibility. I very well may see you Friday, and I'll have another true story for you. So until then, be well, God victory, and I will see you soon.